Hey everyone, I'm Jude Hotep, the Goddess Astrologer and Alchemical Initiatrix. This is a new moon video for August 19th, 2023, new moon in Taurus. We're going to get into all the astrology. There's a lot going on. And I have a surprise for you as well. We're going to get into your sun sign horoscopes. There'll be chapters on the video. If there's not immediately, check back there. They will be there within 24 hours. So that does occur with these videos from time to time. So also, I want to let you know that I'm a professional astrologer and a master soul coach. I've been working with women for 10 plus years and healing. I've helped hundreds of women heal past life shadow, trauma, and old wounds to reclaim their power, make more money, and make a positive impact on the world. So you can work with me one of three ways. You can work with me in my one-to-one coaching program, Alchemical Goddess. And that's a one-on-one coaching program. Or you can work with me in an individual astrology reading. And I have a really incredible offer at the moment where you can book a pick your price astrology reading. I'm doing a body of astrological research. And so this is this wonderful opportunity I recommend getting in on. My normal astrology readings are $297. So I ask that you pay as close to that as possible, and pay as close, pay what you honestly feel you can pay. And so this is the time to pay. You can pay anywhere from $55 to $297. So great opportunity. I would capitalize on this. You can go over to thegoddessastrologer.com and book that now by clicking the banner at the top. And I'm going to show you some things in the chart. And so this new moon, this Taurus new moon at the end of Taurus season here is happening on May 19th, 2023 on Friday, and is happening at 10:53 a.m. For this part of the world. So adjust for your time zone, adjust for your area. And this new moon is happening at 28 degrees, 25 minutes. It is conjunct Sedna and Uranus. And we have the nodes at 3 degrees. So we have this last 3 degrees, 3-4 degrees with the nodes, because they go down to 0, with the nodes here in the Taurus Scorpio polarity. And so are you cultivating and understanding and learning everything that you need to before we move into that Aries Libra assignment that we'll have for 18 months, starting July 18th, when the nodes change into the Aries Libra axis? And we have a lot going on. Jupiter has moved into Taurus. So wonderful. We've had a year with Jupiter and Aries. We've been learning the Aries archetype so deeply, and with Chiron here, healing so much here, and really retrieving our power, standing in our own. Aries is about your ability to be self-directed, to be orientated within yourself, to not what others are doing or others are saying is the path for your life, that is the way to do things, but orientated within yourself to what your soul says is the path, is the way. And Taurus is all about the sensuality. It is tactile. It's about that spatial awareness. It can just sense and feel around it to the finitest degree. It can feel within the energy spectrum, within consciousness, and within physicality, all of those. Taurus is deeply sensual about, it can be sexuality, but it's about that creative feminine force, the instinctual nature within us that creates, that is life, that is fecund. And it's very much the essence of life, and it's the divine feminine. And so I want you to really look inward and think about where you've been guided into your own inner knowing, into your own sensuality, creativity, your own inner world. Because with this new moon, we're integrating so much from this eclipse season that we just had, that was really massive, so powerful eclipse season we've just gone through. So many endings, so many chapters closing, so many completions and culminations and fruitions occurring with that last new moon. And eclipse was at that 29 degree mark, and so of Aries. And so that means that we're being asked to now integrate Aries consciously, to consciously choose our yes and no, really claim our no when we mean no, and speak up, no matter what happens to you, no matter whether people criticize you, put you down, alienate you, demonize you, make you the problem, project all their stuff onto you, misunderstand you, misrepresent you. Any of these things, the light speaks up. And that Aries is about the I am, the part within you that stands just completely firm and solid within its own self, knowing who it is, no matter what the outside world does. It doesn't get swayed and pulled in all these directions, which is that Libra shadow, by other people, what they think is right, by their disproportionate reactions, or really behaving their poor behavior, or their abuses, or their alienations, all the things I was just speaking about. It's strong within itself, within what it is, and it knows, and it follows this instinctual nature. And now we're being asked to do that consciously. And so there is this Taurus energy and all of this earth in the chart, and this heavy water and earth in the chart. Realize that this is soul. This is like, think about like blues music, and just think about like the swamps and the soul. I heard somebody give this metaphor once, I think is great, because I've traveled all over the US, and in Colorado, it's very high and dry. So you have earth and air, and it's very dry, and it's just this feeling. And that's kind of that too over intellectualization and just thinking about it all so much. And then it just makes for this dryness. But if you go down to New Orleans, and it's soul, and it's soul music, and it's soul food, and it's a different energy, and it's sexual, and it's sensual, and it's heat and hot and creative and fecund, and it's just this theme is rising off. And so think about this energy of all this water and earth in the chart as soul. The universe is speaking so loudly to us constantly about a return to soul, a return to soul, a return to soul. Are you returning within? This Aries archetype is this theme that is powerful for the rest of our lives. So no matter what your age is, this Aries archetype is a very important archetype because of the people who are alive today, and because of their Pluto placement. We have the Pluto Libra generations, the Pluto Virgo generations, and the Pluto Sag Scorpio generations that are the generations that are affecting the world so powerfully. At a higher degree, and less of the Leo generation, less and less because of us aging. And so we realize that means that our evolutionary intent is Aries, our evolutionary intent is Gemini and Taurus and Pisces. That's our evolutionary intent. So if you take Pisces and Aries and Taurus and Gemini, and you realize that these are the evolutionary intentions, the point of our whole existence in this incarnation, of the main people kind of affecting life right now. And you look at that, and even you can take Aquarius for the Pluto Leo generation. You can take Aquarius, humanity, humanitarian effort, sacred activism, and you take these archetypes. Just think about what these archetypes are. Just think about what we're doing with these archetypes. Pisces about a return to soul, and not the the drinking and the drugging and the escapism of Pisces, but the creativity, the unconditional love, and the gestalt, the whole thinking, the more holistic picture, being the connection with all that is, the being connected with all of life, and understanding that we live in a living universe, we live in a living solar system, we live in a living planet. That we're taught the exact opposite in Western science, which is really taught around the world, even though that's not the only science. And it's actually based upon looking through a lens that's inaccurate, that life is mechanized. It's not. It's a living. Everything is a living, from a rock to planets to our solar system to the universe at large, and everything is living. And then we move into that Aries archetype of no longer being overpowered or directed by others, or by some externals, by rules and guidelines. What lines have you been coloring in between? We've been looking at this with Jupiter and Aries for a year. We've been learning the Aries archetype, And then those new moons we had at 0 degrees Aries and then 29 degrees Aries, where we're moving through the whole spectrum of Aries, and we're learning and we're growing. We're learning how to speak our voice, step into our own assertiveness, to clean out the archaic warrior programming of shadow Aries, to understand that Aries is about caring about the underdog. Aries cares about the underdog and fights for the underdog. Aries is a spiritual warrior. And it's just very firm within itself. It's very much knows what it wants and what it doesn't want, and it speaks up for itself, and it speaks even when you get alienated, and when you, all of the things I was mentioning earlier. And then that Taurus archetype of sensuality, intuition, feeling, sensing, knowing, understanding, where all of it's coming from that, sinking into the deep feminine, retrieving the feminine principle that's been suppressed in the culture for 5,000 years, and retrieving all that comes with that. We're a species that's moving from an ego mind dominant species into a species that's feeling intuition dominant. And we're making that shift. And so we're living that shift. You may be communicating with people through packets of information, barely needing words rather than words. You know, many people are becoming psychic at the highest levels, communicating in different ways, really sensing the world around them, really tapping in, really channeling from the quantum field, like understanding our world in a different way. And all the data that you were always receiving, now understanding it, interpreting it, seeing it, hearing it, connecting to it, and being able to work with that data, all of the sensory data. And then that Gemini archetype of just embracing all of life's experiences, which means you have compassion, acceptance, because you embrace all of life's experiences instead of that dogmatic one way, my truth, instead of, of Sag, rather than Sag being more of the metaphysical, philosophical, higher natural truths on the conscious spectrum of Sag. And that Sag can be really dogmatic and about religion and about this is the one only truth, and rigid. And so if you think about who's alive today and what our evolutionary, as a group, as a collective, intentions are, it's Aquarius through Gemini. And so this is so important, so informative. I'll show you some things in the chart. This new moon, a new moon energy, is always that week leading up before is that balsamic phase where we can't see the moon. And therefore, we understand that in our lives where we don't have direction and we don't know where things are going, and everything we thought that we had clarity around and thought was very clear doesn't feel clear. We don't feel like we have clarity during this time. And all of our projects, everything seems to deflate for this period of time. And then we have the new moon where it's this new birthing. So this phase is a culmination. It's an ending. It's a phase where it is darkness, where we feel blind. And so don't be confused ever by the balsamic period of the moon, always before a new moon, where you feel like you've lost the plot. Let the plot go, and just know within a few days' time, you will be revived and renewed. That's the cyclical renewal, like the seasons, like the moon every 28 days and so on. So don't let that worry you. If you feel like you just kind of had it all together and all of the dots were connecting, and really sink into your sensuality, your creativity, that Taurus energy. Taurus is the earth, it's the body, it's the plants and the trees, it's the tactile, taste, touch, feel. But it is so deeply sensory based. It's so deeply tactile at a consciousness level, at at a level of the energetic field, on the astral realms. It's not just in the physicality only. Taurus is very, very deeply connected to a knowing from within, the intuition. And with this, Jupiter's just went in to Taurus on the 16th and is squaring Pluto, as Pluto's at these last degrees of Aquarius before it keeps retrograding back into Capricorn in June. And then Pluto's squaring the South Node and Apollon. And the South Node is squaring Mars, and Jupiter is squaring Mars as well. So we have this Grand Cross in the chart, and Grand Cross is a very strong, powerful aspect. And these are all fixed signs except for Cancer, and Cancer will be popping over into Leo just after this new moon. And with this Cancer here, this Mars in Cancer, and now kind of getting out of that, ruled by the moon, where it's been an interesting energy, and it's given us the opportunity to really find where we feel unmothered within us, where we're the motherless child within us, and where we have this opportunity to go within, realizing that no amount of love and a mother ever doting upon the child and be like hovering and, oh my God, this sniffle means that they're going to get a pneumonia, would actually do what the inner mother must do for ourselves. And depending on your background as a child, your inner mother might be very young and stumbling, fumbling, trying to figure it out itself. Or your mother might be grown up and might be evolved. Where are you at with that? Are you connected to your inner child? Because inner child work's interesting where, are you protecting that inner child? Because our inner child can come out in an instant, and it can be really odd. It can be this really vulnerable part of us. It can be this really happy part of us. And it can cause others to have a reaction because it's a very innocent, loving, authentic part of ourselves. So it can be very vulnerable, or it can be very hurt. And so that can come out sometimes. So this has been a really great opportunity to go in and to see all of these motherless places within ourselves and to heal them and work with them to re-nurture ourselves. Cancer about nurturing. Like, are you nurturing yourself, or are you orientated outside yourself, wanting others to nurture you, wanting the things to nurture you, the environment, the money, the stuff to provide for you, rather than you nurturing yourself? Like, this is such an important thing that is so simple, we could miss it. That really has to do with this Taurus energy as well. That are you caring, loving yourself? Do you know how to do that? Because it takes witnessing your emotions and being okay with all of the parts of yourself. It takes being there for you, which means not distracted everywhere and going everywhere and doing everything and always distracted and up in your head and out of the body. It means being down into your body so you can sense it and feel what you're feeling at any given moment. It's being okay with all of the emotions, all of the aspects of your psyche and consciousness and your soul, all of the clumsy parts of you, all of the parts of you that maybe you don't like as much, too fat, too tall, too thin, too round, too plump, too squishy, too red, too white, too this, too that, whatever it is that, you feel like you're too something. Do you love all those parts of yourself too? Are you nurturing you, or are you inside your own head putting you down? And this Jupiter about our belief systems, about learning, growing, about expanding, removing ignorance. And it's where we're seeking to be the guru. It's where we're seeking to be liberated. And square Pluto, just really the Aquarius, the collective, and from control, whether it's mind, Aquarius, cerebral control from those that are pushing the transhumanist agenda, or from those that want humanity to be sheeped around and to do what they want them to do, like Ukraine is in the middle, of two countries. And it's really sad, situation there. Like the last 3 years, what we've been dealing with, it's the Aquarius is the collective. So it's totally talking about mind control, and Pluto is revealing all of the mind control over the next 20 years with Pluto and Aquarius. It's going to be revealing the group think Aquarius. It's going to be revealing the problems in the collective, the problems with humanity, Aquarius, and the problems with science and technology, where what is convenient today is controlled tomorrow. Are you allowing your life to be ruled by your desire for quickness, fastness, convenience, the easiest thing? Because Taurus is about simplicity. And I don't want to go back to Depression era times, I'll tell you what, but I also don't want one monopoly to be the only place I can buy something. And then to start having weird things. Oh, well, we don't have these products anymore that I want. We don't carry these brands anymore. And then turning everything into their brands, which is happening at some stores. And where I can't find unique items and I can't find handmade items. And that's why Etsy and places like that are so powerful. Like, are you shopping in other places? Or are you only doing what's fast, quick, easy, and convenient? I mean, I just have to really push that we have to understand how we've been censored on social media because they're owned by individuals and no one's doing anything about it. We have to make choices really powerfully right now, really awake, really consciously right now, because you can't say certain things on certain channels or you'll get shut down. You'll get, and you might even get censored where you can't even tell completely that you're not getting access to people, but you won't be popping up in people's feeds anymore. And so we've literally had our constitutional rights, completely trespassed. And it has happened. It has already happened. We need to be conscious. We need to be awake. We need to understand what's happening. We need to vote with our dollar, with our choices. And that's that Aries, where we stand so strong in ourselves. It's not about being afraid of these things. There's nothing to be afraid of. And when you feel fear, what's so important, all the Scorpio energy in this Grand Cross, when you feel fear, it means go into the fear, either unpack it mentally and emotionally. And that's such a great thing to be doing in coaching. Like, why am I having this fear? Like, let me unpack it and break it down and show myself, or to go do the thing, because that's the only way you will eradicate fear. You will not eradicate fear by hiding from it. It will not go away. It will grow stronger. And so it's so important to have actual effective tools that work to deal with fear in a given moment, or the dysregulation of your nervous system, or you may have PTSD symptoms or healing different things. And do you have effective tools that actually work? Do you know how to retrain your nervous system? Do you know how to heal? That is what we do in Alchemical Goddess, my one-to-one coaching program. And that is what we do in Light Goddess, where She Alchemy is a program in Light Goddess, which will be open in June. And this is a live monthly experience with a community of soul women who want to grow together and heal together and keep awakening together and keep making more money and rising and making a big impact in this world together. And you can get coached by me live. And so it's powerful. You can email me if you're interested, and I can help you get signed up or find out more info. And so we have this fixed cross of Aquarius, Scorpio, Leo. It's going to be Leo, but it's this Cancer Mars energy on the borderline here, and Taurus. And so with this Mars being in the last degree of Cancer, it's saying now we need to do Cancer. We need to do Cancer consciously, which means we need to start nurturing ourselves consciously. We moved through 30 degrees of Cancer, and now in the 29th degree, it's asking us, can we consciously take action, Mars, on nurturing ourselves, nurturing our inner child, nurturing our teenager, nurturing our adult selves, nurturing any parts of our consciousness, our inner world that needs us in any given moment. Can we nurture ourselves? Can we support ourselves? Can we be the one that is mothering us in any given moment? And can we grow our mother up within us? We are the only one that can mother us truly, completely, no matter how good a situation we had when we grew up or not. And so I have a story for you about Mother Moon. And there's this town, and it was beautiful town, and Mother Moon is in the sky, so bright and beautiful. And then there's the days of the month where she is blotched out by the gray sky, and she's veiled, and she's not there, and she goes dark for several days of the month. And then there she comes back out again, and she's bright and luminous. And there's this town that she's shining down upon on the earth. And this town is this beautiful, amazing, wonderful town. And the moms and dads love each other. The moms and dads love each other. And the kids love each other. And there's so much love and connection and joy and peace. And the community is truly bountiful and abundant and plentiful. And there's so much creativity and art and wonderful things happening in this town. But there's this one thing, that this town is surrounded by a moat of bog and quagmire, where the dark is, where the evil looms. And on those nights where the moon is not lit and cannot be found in the sky, people do not have safe passage across the bogs and the murky black mirror water and the quagmire, and they're pulled down by the evil tendrils of the trees there and the murk. And there's a stench that's foul that comes off of it. And people do not have safe passage during that time and can be pulled into the bog and disappear and die. And so people are disappearing. And so the moon is like, I need to go figure this out for myself. I need to go check this out. So she goes down and she leaves the sky and she gets onto a shooting star to travel down to the earth and to check it out for herself. And she's traveling down and she's looking at this murky, smelly muck bog and quagmire and this black water and the muck that pulls people in, and all of the dead trees and where the evil is. And she has to see for herself, and she's looking and looking through it and trying to find, and all of a sudden she feels these black tendrils on her ankles, and they're wrapping around her ankles, and she's trying to move her ankles and her feet, and they're getting tighter and tighter. And then she reaches for a tree that is evil tree, and she tries to grab a limb on the evil tree, and all of a sudden the black tendrils wrap around her wrists and entrap her more and more. And it's pulling her down into the boggy water. And she has this cape on that is hiding her light so that others are not drawn, so she can get a look at what's going on. And she has this cape over her beautiful golden hair, and a little bit of light peeks out from her cape, and she can hear the sounds of somebody saying, help me, help me. And in the distance, and it gets closer and closer, help me. And she sees this traveler who's weary and tired and being pulled into the bog, and is trying to figure out how to get across and to move out of the way of the tendrils coming for him. And the light from the moon is actually drawing him nearer and nearer to her. And what she realizes is that she's actually leading him to his death inadvertently. And so she tries to pull her cape over to squash the light so that it doesn't see. And in her haste, the hood falls back and her beautiful hair is revealed, and suddenly the golden light from her hair shines upon the bog, and the traveler can see his way now, and he skips over the tendrils and gets out of the way and runs with relief and haste to the edge and makes it past the boggy area and the quagmires. And he forgets in that relief and haste to wonder about what wonderful magical thing just happened to him, and to think about. And the moon is pulled down into, Mother Moon is pulled down into the bog, and the moon is gone, and the town has been come over with people starting to disappear, and motherless children being more and more abundant, and orphaned, and more children orphaned, and more people are having problems. And the town decides to go and find out what has happened to the moon, to Mother Moon. And so they go to the boggy areas and the quagmires and the swamps. And they go to the edges of the marsh, and they're looking and they're looking, and they find this big boulder that has been covered over the moon, where the evil things said, we got her now. And their whisper chatter was chattering like, we got her. Yes, let's kill her. Let's kill her. And they put this boulder over her. And the townspeople see this boulder, and they move it and they push it, and they are shining their torches, which is keeping the evil tendrils from grabbing at their ankles. And they're keeping their torches lit, and they move the boulder, and they push it and they push it and they heave it, and they finally get it moved out from on top of the moon, and they see the moon. And she's released from the bog, and she floats into the sky and floats up, 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 and goes back into a position in the night sky. And ever after, the people on the nights when they can't see the moon in the night sky and the sky is dark, like during this balsamic phase before this new moon and during this new moon, Taurus new moon, they know to just keep their fires burning and wait until she shines again and shines the way, because she keeps the evil tendrils from coming up out of the bogs at their ankles, so they can pass over and have free passage through the boggy, marshy terrain. So I hope you enjoyed that story, and I want to show you how this fits with the astrology. The balsamic phase before the moon is so important because the planets have planetary phase as well. And so when I read your natal chart, I look at the planetary phases of your planets, and are you in a new moon phase in your in some of your planets, or are you in a full moon phase, or a culminating, or a balsamic, or a gibbous, etc. And it's so important. The new moon is a time of visioning. It's a time of deep inner reflection. And that's why I said, if you're feeling like things kind of fell apart, like you kind of lost the plot, don't be worried about that. That is the balsamic period before a new moon. You can have low lows come here. I've talked about the low lows and the high highs of the ascension journey and the spiritual awakening journey, and how they can really come around the times of the full moon and the new moon, and especially during the balsamic phase of the new moon. And it's a time where we have that period where we don't need to know. We're finishing things, we're finalizing, we're resting, we're just keeping our fire lit, keeping our light lit, but knowing that this isn't necessarily the time to know something, or to have the very clear direction or pathway, or to maybe not even have the energy. And it's the same as the luteal phase of a woman's cycle, and of our cycles as women. So just know that that's that time. And, the evil, the branches, the bog, is the Scorpio energy in this grand cross. And Mother Moon is this, Cancer energy that Mars has been in. Where are you without Mother Moon? And need that nurturing, that light, because she's not a mother like that hovers and it's like, oh my God, one sneeze means ammonia is always there, and is like too loving to where there's no boundaries and there's no guidance and there's no like firm no's, and everything's like, yes, just do whatever you want, run all over the house and throw water balloons at me when that's not when I asked you not to, things like that. It's like, where are the boundaries? Where's the no? Where's like, no, there's things we do have to do and things we don't want to do. And so it's the kind of mother that instead guides, and she helps them bring out the consciousness from within themselves to know within themselves. That type of mother that's nurturing for us to find our own wisdom, our own knowledge, what we have to offer. And this is how this correlates to Taurus, because Taurus is about survival. Taurus is about our inner resources, what we innately have within us to survive, but to thrive, to radiate our light in this world, to change this world, to do what is our work in this world to do our big purpose, to speak our voice as a woman, to stand on stages, To be out there in front of people, to change people's hearts takes courage. Aries, you're integrating that Aries archetype consciously now. It takes courage to stand on stages, to step into greater and greater levels of visibility, greater and greater levels of money, because Taurus is money in abundance, and Taurus is self-love, caring for yourself. And it's that sensuality, it's that intuition, it's that inner knowing. And so do you feel valuable? Because that's Taurus. Do you feel valuable? Do you know what you innately have to make life? Just like, can you make fire if you're in the woods and you need clothing and you need fire and you need food? Can you do that for yourself? Apply that metaphorically to your modern life. Like, what is within you that is your magic that you bring to the world, your creativity, your ideas, your work, your art, your healing efforts, whatever you do in your business, whatever you do in your life, knowing your own resources. And so this new moon is asking you to connect deeply with your own value and to believe in it more than anybody else does, because that's what you have to do to stand up, and that Aries archetype to stand up, and this Mars Leo that we're going to have right after this new moon, to stand up and your healed Scorpio self that's psychologically healthy and understands psychology of humans and the human condition and all these deep realms, and is not thrown off by the hell realms, but has walked through the shadow, walked through the hells in your life, and retrieved the wisdom and the knowledge, and is a part of the human family, Aquarius, and a part of this collective that is leading and guiding and bearing light, shining light, helping others to be encouraged and uplifted and inspired to shine theirs. And this Aquarius is the townspeople, all the people together, getting together to go find the moon. How can we come together? We have to realize that we are a resource to each other. And that's Taurus again. That people are a resource to you, not in a use them kind of way, in a let's share resources. What you don't know, I know, and what I know, you don't know. And so let's share that knowledge. Let's help each other rise together as women, because women are the hinge pan to all of humanity rising out of the control and domination of a select few of basically psychopaths, sociopaths, and narcissists in the culture, in the world, that have other agendas for humanity, or people that want to have monopolies and monopolize our world. We have to make choices. We have to come together, and we have to realize we are a resource to each other. And this Taurus understands the value of community, but it's deeply internal. It's a yin sign about it's moving inward. Taurus is moving inward. It's gathering inward. It's all of the bounty you have within yourself to make a rich, beautiful life for yourself in all ways. I don't just mean money, but in all ways of having beauty, having warmth, having friendships, having love in your life, having connection to your guides, to the all that is, having the ability to read, the ability to drive, anything that is something that allows you to be powerful in this life and to utilize everything that's within you. It's so important to understand this. The Scorpio stuff is, the darkness, the evil that wants to take us down, and it's walking through those hell realms. And it's the Scorpio is simultaneously the deep need to transform and change, and yet the resistance to it because of the fear of that death and that rebirth, which is that balsamic phase of the moon, where you just don't feel like you have the guidepost anymore, and you don't feel like you know the plot anymore. And you're like, man, I was all on point, and now I just don't know what the hell I'm doing. Can you just keep your fire lit through that and make art? And so because this is a grand cross, it's all squares. This is tension. This is where things may not be flowing the way your ego wants them to flow. But if you sink into the Taurus intuition and the sensuality and that creativity, and you flow listening to what your body needs, what your inner feminine needs, your inner child, all the parts within you need, and you attend to that, and you, Mars and Cancer, nurture that, And Venus here in Cancer as well. If you nurture that deeply, and if you allow yourself to Scorpio, like let the fixed waters run, cry when you need to, attend to the emotions, go in and do the inner work, be with your own psychology, doing that inner work, because it's just a lifestyle. It just is. It's just what we do. It's not like we're going to do this body of inner work. It's like inner work is the way of life. If you want to be an evolving, growing human, if you want to stay static, then what's the point of being here? This whole thing is about, of being alive at all. We were told by the main culture, the mainstream culture, that, it was like work, play, entertainment, sleep, and that's what all it was, or it was school, career, kids, retirement, death. That's not what life is. Life is actually about the evolution of our soul, the evolution of humanity, the evolution of the earth. We're all doing this together. It's this bigger Neptunian principle of what's happening. And this new moon is really planting these new seeds of women and men being really connected to the divine feminine, to really connected to their feminine principle within themselves, connected inward, connected to their emotions, their intuition, their inner guidance, letting that lead instead of belief systems. Jupiter, with Jupiter and Taurus, it's like, no, having the belief system be guided, be, kind of diffused completely, and being just simply guided by the inner intuition and knowledge that is available to us moment to moment, moment to moment, to know what to do. Just like with the story, knowing that, like, in a moment where we might feel the most distress because we just all of a sudden don't know where we're going, what's happening, we're in the swampy bogs, and the evil tendrils are wrapping around our ankles, and the moon's not there to shine the way. We just know we need to get out of the bog, go light a fire, keep the fire going until the moon shines again, and that clarity comes in again, because it always does. The light comes back, that clarity always comes back. We always have that spark within us. We always have that inspiration. And Uranus with this new moon, you might have been having sleeping problems. It's very much up in the collective. I'm hearing it everywhere myself as well. And you might just feel a little electric, a little just out of your normal routine. Expect the unexpected. Mercury's stationed and just not moving very fast. Going to take a little bit of time to get up to speed, and we'll be out of shadow on the 31st. So we still have like Mercury retrograde, doing things twice, or things not quite flowing. And Mercury in Taurus is less words and more intuitive understandings, just knowingness coming up. And understanding that the Saturn has been really diffusing lines and boundaries and making reality more malleable, more adjustable. And Neptunes are collective consciousness, guiding us back to soul. Collective consciousness in at home in Pisces about soul. And Neptune's really strong in the chart. And Neptune is, what's in the collective consciousness is also what's in our unconscious collectively. And so the shadow, and what people are not willing to see, and what people are not willing to look at. We have trines from Pluto, and Pluto's south node in Capricorn to this new moon. And the south node of Pluto in Capricorn is about us moving away from the archaic warrior programming, moving away from the, toxic masculine energy of always being at war, which that is a small select group that wants us to be perpetually in war. So we have to realize that we need to all make our choices and say no. If everyone stands up and says no, then the world, a small group of people cannot do these things. If we're all standing up and saying, no, I don't want to be in perpetual war. No, I'm for life. Taurus is about life. And we can make choices wherever we can. And these trines are saying with this new moon that we're reclaiming the feminine, reclaiming what's important, the connection to our interconnectedness with all of life, to all of existence, our return to soul, our return to our intuition and our feelings. People are really starting to really get more and more and more connected and masterful with emotions. I'm an emotions expert. It's what we do to heal. When you can't feel gratitude, that is indicative that there's resentments in there. And so whenever we have any sort of emotion or we feel like a victim, there's disempowerment, it's something that needs to be healed. You didn't go up to a buffet and said, yeah, let me get a cup full of victim. That sounds like a great life. Of course not. That's indicative of you having been through abuse and trauma, or the past life trauma is coming up to be healed in this life, to be able to individuate and to liberate from past life trauma and abuse and control. And we have to look at the Pluto generations that are on the planet right now, that are the ones active at work in the world, Leo through Scorpio. And you know, it's not really so much the Scorpio generations. A lot of them haven't even hit their Saturn return or just hitting it. And so, but, you know, include that, the Leo to Sag generation, and we have to look at the opposite polarity, that's our evolutionary intent on the planet right now, so the planet can evolve, so all of us can evolve. And so what is important for us to do? I hope that makes sense. What's opposite our Pluto in our chart is our evolutionary purpose. So it's your North Star of what you're trying to do in this life. And so the more you tap in and understand that, coupled with your nodal axis of your moon, will really help you understand what the hell you're trying to do in this life, and why, if you're having challenges or complications or issues, it's been like that, or it's going down that way because you're working to develop, heal, or move through these things. And it's so powerful to understand that. And so these trines are really giving us this ability to handle what must be changed, how we must change, how we must grow, how we must stand up in our value, stand up for our value, speak to power when power is trying to say, this isn't okay. You know, or trying to say, when power is trying to dominate over you, rather, and speaking up and saying, no, this isn't okay. And we often go from one extreme to the other extreme until we, you know, go enough to the extremes until we finally balance out in the middle. And so you might be going into extremes and realize that other people might, because they're just now learning that other side of the spectrum. So the opposite polarity of one sign, for example. And so people may be flipping out and having all kinds of reactions and things, but it could simply be because they're trying to figure out how to stand up for themselves. And they never did it before. And so they're standing up in such a disproportionate way to what happened, because they're just trying to stand up for themselves for once. And it's coming on the heels of a long line of abuse and trespasses and wrong things. And finally they're screaming, or they're wild, or whatever it is. And it's like, because you know, they're finally trying to speak up, speak out, and it takes time to learn how to speak up for yourself in a way that you can try to get the best outcome. There's a lot of people that want to shut people down for speaking up or speaking about what's not transparent, and they don't want to take responsibility for how they could fucking do better in life. That's just the bottom line. They don't, either they're a narcissist, psychopath, or sociopath, and they will blame you and always put it back on you. Or they just don't, they could be a damaged ego where they just don't want to take responsibility for how they could do things better and look at themselves and look at how they can improve. And if you're somebody who's always growing and learning and working to improve, and you have empathetic intelligence, you know, it's very challenging, because when you speak up, you could be outcasted or kicked out, or just admonished or criticized, or any number of things. And that might make you retreat back into the Libra rather than the Aries, and to like stop speaking out. But you can't let it make you stop speaking out and think you are wrong or bad. Realize that abuse and trauma makes the person abused and traumatized feel like they're wrong and bad and no good, or they're the ones causing the problem or doing the thing or the common denominator, when it's actually them speaking up about what's wrong and that what the abusers are doing. But there's a whole systemic system set up to keep the abuse being able to get away with it. And that could be in the family unit, it's in society at large. You know, we have learned helplessness in the society, you know, and so we have to realize that just because someone admonishes you or criticizes you or alienates you or outcasts you or kicks you out or does something to you for speaking up and out doesn't mean you did anything wrong or bad or that you are any of those things. It means you're speaking up, and this is how it changes. This is how we change the world, by speaking up, and we have to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. And this is how we consciously invoke the Aries archetype. And we heal all the parts in ourselves that have a real problem and difficulty with doing that, where we feel fear to do it, where we feel like we are wrong or bad, and healing all of those things along the journey. And talking a lot about that on my TikTok over at the Goddess Astrologer. I do astrology and soul coaching there every day. I've been talking a lot, and people have been really responding well to, like, feeling like, yeah, somebody gets it, that, you know, people are always saying I'm the wrong that's wrong. So I'm actually speaking up for what's wrong. And they're trying to blame me when it's like, no, you're the abuser. You're the one that can't, you know, respect boundaries. You're the one that is being outrageous right now. And I'm calling it out. But a narcissist will poke and poke and poke and poke and poke and poke until you explode, so that you look like you're the one that's crazy. So you look like you're the one that's out of bounds. And so we have to realize what these abusers do and how they do it, and that they're everywhere in our society and culture. And so this is the stuff we're healing from as humanity. This is the deep, dark shit we're healing from. We're healing from the deepest dark depravity, human depravity in our culture. Scorpio, South Node, and just Scorpio in general. You know, it's the darkest underworld of what humans are capable of. And that's what we're healing from. You know, I really could see humanity evolving to where the so-called darkness, that polarity, because we live in a polarized, you know, we live in a polarity universe, period. So, you know, that polarity is not the worst depravity of human possibility, you know, that instead it's just some sort of contrast. But wouldn't it be great if it wasn't murder and rape and the horrible horrors that people do in this world? But what if we can move away from that? Something that's really important to realize with this configuration and Lilith so prominent, and the energies that we've had, is that we and Lilith is square this new moon, and she's in Leo, about the feminine shining its light, and square saying that you're going to have to sink into your intuition, sink into your sensory self, inside your instinctual, steamy, soulful, hot self, nature, instinctual nature, and hear that directives rather than the outside world or rather than your head. And it's not always easy, right? Because we're orientated from birth to the mind and ego dominance, depending on who you are in your journey and so forth. And there can be a lot of rage. You know, as we're healing, new rage can come up and come up and come up. And so sacred rage practice, whether it's breaking glass, screaming, you know, I do sacred rage practice whenever I need to. Whenever I can just feel it coming up, I go and I do sacred rage practice. This guy just got hit in the head with the dove outside my window. It's really funny. He's just like, what the hell? It's so funny. This dove just like flies into this guy's head. So great. Peace, the dove, peace. I guess he needs a dose of peace. Oh my gosh. And so it's this energy of realizing that, you know, this Mars has a sextile to the new moon, you know, the Cancer energy of mothering ourselves, growing our mother up within ourselves to keep mothering ourselves, to keep being the one that can love us and be tender and be gentle and kind and care about every little care we have, where somebody else would criticize you or say that's dumb or stupid, or they would have, you know, some superiority complex upon you, or, you know, something to say. But the mother inside you can know how important any little thing that's important to you is, and love you and have fun with you and joke with you and think that that's so funny too, or think that that's so important too, or so exciting, or so inspiring, etc. And that sextile to this new moon of this Taurus energy of a deep sensual nature, tactile nature, the one that senses and knows and feels, the earthy feeling. It's the fecundity of the earth, that it's knowing, what the breeze is saying, knowing what the turn of the leaves means, knowing what the bird cawing overhead is saying, all of that metaphorically within your own self, within your own psyche soul. What are all those messages saying to you and need from you? And the Sedna is the bone woman. She's going to be moving into Gemini. It's a big deal because they don't move very quickly. These asteroids, this goddess asteroid, and Sedna is the bone woman. And are we singing over our bones? Are we collecting all of the fragmented parts of ourselves that we've left here and there, looking to somebody else as the authority, looking to somebody else for the answer, looking to somebody else to have the pathway, looking to somebody else, looking to our mind in our head, just in our head, and thinking, and spinning in our mind, and just going everywhere, doing everything, keeping ourselves so busy because we're not sinking down into the stillness within our own self and listening there, and be willing to feel all the feels that come up when we're in stillness, when we're in quiet, instead of watching TV to go to sleep. Like, do you have stillness before bed where you can actually deal with everything that's coming up? Because often that's when all the sadness and sorrows and all the things finally come up at the end of the night, when you're in bed and it's finally quiet. And it's like, wow, all this sadness is here. All this anger, rage is here. All these feelings, I don't feel good, actually. But the TV would have drowned all that out and numbed it out. But are you listening inward? Are you hearing that? And these quintiles from Neptune to the South Node with the pollen, which is this like Gemini Jupiter energy of this expansive embracing of life and being able to download the messages, being able to understand how everything fits together in this intuitive way. The Scorpio, this quintile, is that there's this creativity and flow and complete ability to heal, to find the help, the answers, the solutions. If you are in this allowing inquiry place of listening, like when you need a walk, you take a walk. When you need sunshine, you go get sunshine. Like, you're not so rule bound and regulated bound and coloring in between the lines and doing all the schedules, but instead you're a lot more listening to letting your intuition guide your day, guide your schedule, guide your life, guide moment to moment, because that's when there can be all the flow and the magic and the beauty and the miracles coming in, because they are there right now. They are coming in right now. The Saturn and Pisces, all of this magic and miracles of this biquintile to Mars in Cancer, the water energy. And the water energy is the energy of our emotions. It's a conscious living being. Like, connect to the four elements as consciousnesses, because they are living. They're allowing us to have life. And that life is allowing us to evolve our soul and to do something higher. And the Sedna is, all of the parts of ourself that we retrieve, all of the wisdom from the deep waters. It's a deep, watery energy from like a river, like this deep, watery energy of being unwanted, cast out, cast aside, and yet reclaiming this Taurus, this 29 degrees of Taurus, where now we're asked to integrate all of Taurus consciously, reclaiming that we are valuable, that we matter, that we have something to offer the world, that we are resourceful within ourselves, that we have massive amounts of light, creativity, genius, ingenious ideas, ingenious work and art to bring to humanity to help heal, uplift, inspire, encourage, guide, mentor others. That this Sedna is about really owning and claiming that really like getting it, like having the realizations that I matter, I'm important, I'm valuable, I feel valuable. And I'm going to start like orientating myself within myself that is the case. I'm going to start behaving as if that were true. I'm going to start behaving like I believe that. I believe that, not expecting other people to believe it and then making it true because you're going through other people, but you orientated within your own self that is true. And then taking action from that place. That's really different, two different things. I'm going to get into sun sign horoscopes after this, but like this is such an important piece of this that wants to come through, is that when you're orientated inside yourself as being valuable and you know your value, no matter what anyone else does, you can make decisions from this grounded place, grounded Taurus, with place within yourself of I'm valuable, I matter, I know my worth. I love myself. I'm mothering that Mars and Cancer. I'm mothering myself. I'm not expecting it to come from outside of me. I'm not upset when it doesn't because I didn't expect it to come from outside of me to begin with. I'm the one inside me that is mothering me, that is nurturing me, that is there for me, that knows my value, that claims it and doesn't need anyone else to see it. And that is also when simultaneously people do see it and do magnetically magnetize to you as well. But you don't need that anymore. So it doesn't matter if it comes or goes or flows in, flows back out, etc. And so this is what this new moon is so much about. And I'm gonna leave it here and do sun sign horoscopes for everyone, for all 12 signs. Let me just move. Just a day later. Just a day later, this Mars moves into Gemini. And this Mars moves into Gemini. It really had an impact on me. But this Mars moves into Leo. I'm still recovering from that. This Mars moves into Leo. And this Grand Cross now has all fixed signs in it. And rather than that one cardinal there. And so this Grand Cross is active for a bit. And these squares are active. And so they're really wanting us to be active and engaged in our lives with all the things that I talked about with this Grand Cross earlier. And so this Leo is the light, it is the heart, and it is being on stage. So everything I just said about you understanding your value and all of that, and then taking it to the stage of your business, your life, your relationships, everywhere, because you own your value. And so you can stand on the stage. And it's okay when you feel vulnerable sometimes. It's okay when you feel insecure sometimes, that you understand that you are not insecure. Those are just transitory emotions that pass through. Again, you know, we do that deep work and Light Goddess. So, and the moon already is moving to this 11 degrees of Gemini on the 20th of May. So I'm going to pull cards for everyone and get into the sun sign horoscopes. And if you like this video, if anything was of value to you, please send it off to a friend. Share it with a friend right now and tell them what helped you, what you liked in here that was really helpful. And please like the video and subscribe so that you'll, I can really understand your energy more if you're subscribed when I do the sun sign horoscopes. And also, you'll be able to get all the latest updates really easily when you subscribe. So we'll do that. All right, let me move this chart back and get this ready. All right, we'll pull cards and get into it. So Aries. New moon for you, second house. Jupiter's moved into your second house. Jupiter's the guru. It's where we learn and grow. And so we go through experiences to get the wisdom and to learn. But it's also where we have natural inclination and gifts and value. And, Taurus is, Jupiter is our belief systems, and Taurus is abundance, money, and self-love, and that intuition. And so it's this Jupiter in the second house can be beneficial in ways of connecting you to being secure and confident in your ability to make money and your ability to know your value and make your value into things like money or creative projects, relationships, etc. And this new moon here is giving you this bloom, this rebirthing in your second house of money, abundance, of self-love, of self-value, of survival, everything connected to survival. So where are you wanting to feel safe? And the ruler of this new moon, Venus in Cancer, and in your fourth house is asking you to step into a different self-identity, asking you to step away from the world you were born into and the status quo ways and methods of feeling safe, and to nurture yourself instead from this inner place within yourself that knows your own value, that mothers you, that nurtures you and loves you, and that is orientated from your value within, from knowing yourself. How well do you know yourself? Do you inquire and learn and laugh at the things that you find humorous? Do you let yourself be silly and play? Do you get to know yourself, or are you always wanting someone else to like something about you for you to like it and for you to think that it is a thing, for you to think that it's important or valuable? Or do you like the things about yourself? Second house issues are really around survival and self-sufficiency. Like, how self-sufficient are you in your life? Or do you always need other people, or look to other people, look in your mind to something else? Or are you connected to your innate creativity and genius and information and abilities, talent, skills? And with this Grand Cross, Pluto in your 11th, wanting you is there's this tension, this choice point, this action that you can take between basing your beliefs not off of familial beliefs or status quo beliefs, but off of your own intuition and inner guidance and soul, and being a part of our human family and dealing with what's revealed, what Pluto is churning up, what Pluto is revealing to us. This tension between Mars in your fourth house and Jupiter in your second, your self-identity, and then your ability to know your value and to create it into something for you, for yourself, to have wealth, to have survival, but thriving, to have life and beauty and fecundity. And are you dealing with any wounds and things in your eighth house related to change and transformation, like thinking that change is scary or that it means something bad and negative? A lot of people have the association with change to something negative, that means something scary, wrong, bad, the other shoe is going to drop, etc. And so can you orientate yourself and reclaim change and regeneration and transformation as something amazing and positive and good, and the next rebirth, the next renewal, the next blooming of your own light and potential? And realizing that anywhere where you feel frustrated, it's asking you to go within that Taurus energy and listen inward, and to really to get individuated from the stuck places within your own thinking, the lines you color in between, and get out of those stuck boxes, and asking you to trust your intuition over your mind, the ego, other people, the old rules you were playing by. All right, Aries, and pull you some cards. when things aren't really flowing and they're just not working the way you want, you feel jammed up, can you just be with the fire for a little while until the moonlight comes back, This card wants to come out for you, the now moment. So really get out of your head. And that was coming up in your astrology too. Of just really getting, this is what this moon is asking for us. Get into our intuition, our sensory self, our sensuality, our creativity, trusting. Do you trust your feminine? Do you trust yourself? Do you trust your own intuition? Or are you always looking outside of yourself? So get into the present moment, Aries. Celebrate your wins is in a self-care message, saying that there's too much negative talk, too much discounting of your own self, too much putting yourself down, so not nurturing yourself. Venus in Cancer ruling this moon, saying that deep creative inner nurturing and love for you. Nourish the sacred feminine. So the message is very, very, very clear here, Aries. It's not letting your mind be taking over and dragging you down into the negative places of talking to yourself. Like, talking to yourself negatively is self-abuse. And so if you're thinking like, oh, I'm bad, this, that, whatever, it's all self-abuse. So are you letting you abuse you, grow that mother up inside you that might be stumbling and bumbling, so it can take care of you and nourish you. All right, Aries, I hope you do great and amazing things with this energy and really enjoy this new moon. If you want to book a pick your price reading, you can go to thegoddessastrologer.com and book that. Taurus, new moon in your sign. What's up? Represent first house energy and third house energy. So Venus and Cancer in your third house ruling this new moon. And it's all this first house of the I am, of the self. And so it's a reclamation of all of these parts of yourself. It's a reclamation of all of the things that got scattered from whatever has went down in your life up to this point. And now it's a reclamation of reclaiming all of the parts that make you you, like reclaiming your value. And are you doing that? I'm guessing that you've been on this journey of this reclamation of your value, and that you matter, and all of the parts of you that make you you, that you bring your own unique genius to this world. Really big Sedna for you, saying, sing over the bones, gather all the parts of yourself, renew yourself. Uranus here is asking us to individuate from all of the stuck earth, all of the old lines we used to color in between. So where have you not been able to look at the whole sky, the whole universe, the all of the possibilities, all the different ways people live, all of the different views people have, and not be triggered by them or have a problem with any of them, and just allow yourself to be in the place where you can nurture your mind. Venus is asking for you to nurture your mind, and instead of admonishing your mind and your thinking or the thoughts or the looping or overthinking or whatever issues that you have with your mind kind of taking the driver's seat at times, but to nurture the mind within you that supports you, believes in you, unwavering belief in yourself. Venus is asking you to go within to support and nurture the thoughts and the belief systems within you that values you, loves you, knows your value, stands in confidence, believes in you, stands in higher and higher visibility, makes more money in the world, speaks your truth, speaks your voice, puts your work out there, and so forth. Jupiter here in your first house of expanding your sense of who you are. And this is a big growth. This is a year of Jupiter, and the first house is a big expansion and growth point to grow and expand yourself, to remove ignorance, to learn, to evolve. And it'll be through experiences, and it'll be through trying out new aspects of yourself at higher levels and higher levels, new aspects of your confidence, new aspects of your sense of security within yourself, new aspects of your own humor or way of speaking or way of being in the world, new experiences that grow you. And so Jupiter is this amazing function of growth, and it's this overview philosophical look at things. And so it's a more philosophical chance to look at yourself for a year, and to view yourself through the eyes of the greater higher truths through that lens. This Grand Cross, Pluto in your 10th, illuminating so much about your relationship to the collective, to the changing times, to technology, and just so much about being stepping up to being on stage. Pluto's going to move back into the 9th. And Pluto reveals the secrets. Pluto is power. And so there's, this power in your business. Like, how can you step up into greater confidence with it being a square to Jupiter? It's really demanding that you claim and own who you are and stepping into greater confidence so that you can step into your greater power. Moving back into the 9th, revealing more secrets around your expertise, what needs to be healed there. The South Node, Scorpio, and you're in the 7th house, all around relationships, that the deep issues right now are relationship driven and allow you to see, everything that's illuminated, the darkness, so to speak, the murky bog, to see the things through relationships that you want to transform and grow through, and realize that simultaneously those are the places asking for growth and where you may resist it as well. And so just see where you may have resistance and why, and let that inform you. This Mars asking for much nurturance of your mind. Nurturing the way you think about life, your perspectives on life, and nurturing the ones that really build you up. And so there is action to be taken here. Managing the mind, being nurturing with self instead of judging with self, speaking positively about the self, speaking lovingly about the self, noticing all of the good, and believing in you. This chart is really about believing in yourself at the highest levels. And are there things that are causing that to be challenged? And what are those things, and how can you work with them? This card wants to come out, Taurus. External validation. So not letting external validation be your source of your sense of yourself, but instead allowing external validation, allowing you to be strong within your own self, within your own value, and letting external validation come and go. In business, you use the testimonials for what you need. You keep understanding that the work you do is effective or useful, but not letting external validation be what makes you feel better or worse, right? Soul on fire, of really just stepping into that greater confidence, stepping into that greater role of Pluto in the 10th, of being visible and being a leader in this collective and being powerful and being that soul on fire where you are lit up from within. It's your light shining from within. It's your inspiration, your encouragement, and your work, and really believing in that. Unwavering belief in yourself, Taurus. This is the main theme of your reading. What does your soul say? Again, guided back into the inner tuition. This new moon is all about the Taurus energies I talked about, deep sensory self. What does your instinctual nature say? What does your intuition say? You got creator earth and a self-care message. So there's a request for grounding and getting into the body and for movement. And so I'd really encourage that, Taurus. All right. If you'd like to book a pick your price reading, you can do that on thegoddessastrologer.com. Gemini. Gemini, this new moon for you is in the 12th house. It's a time of culmination. It's a time of completion, endings. And so since it's a new moon, so much is coming to a close here. Looking at past life stuff, this moon has probably been a big moon of a lot of healing, maybe anger and sadnesses and a lot of different emotions really churning up, because this is coming to a time where you're going to move into a new phase and a new cycle. And so it's really a time of completions and endings. And so healing, and a lot could be up for you with how you're shifting and growing. It's also a real place to connect with your deeper intuitive abilities, your psychic skills and abilities, and reclaiming your power there. Jupiter moving into your 12th for a year is this time and energy of like this great expansion and abundance and your creativity and your ability to expand and grow, your ability to learn sight in the psychic realm and the dimensions, connect to your guides, connect to your gifts, to really be a higher level channeler, to open up to the other dimensions and other realms, and to really trust your inner guidance, your intuition, and your heart, trust in divine love, trust in that connection to soul, connection to the universe and all that is. Sedna here is asking for you to really reclaim your sense of your own self-value and to orientate yourself within yourself as valuable, not needing that from someone else, from the outside, for someone else to approve of you or to say it or to acknowledge it, that you even think it, but to just be coming from that place within yourself alone. And then Mars will be moving into your 3rd house, asking you to take action on a mindset that's coming from heart, but Mars being in your 2nd, and Venus, the ruler of this new moon, in your 2nd in Cancer, is, you know, the nurturing of self-love, the nurturing of your self-value, how you orientate yourself within, where you're thinking from, you know, how you utilize your resources, like nurturing your own creativity, nurturing your own sparks of joy that guide your actions and behavior, nurturing your own heart and your inspiration, the things that you need to move you into action. And this Pluto in your 9th, about expertise and about standing in this place of a leader and a guide to humanity. It's a reclamation of power here, and it's an expansion here of really standing in your expertise. And this has been up for you for the last year. I mean, you've really had a ton of 9th house stuff that's come up. It's really been this big growth for the last year of your abilities to stand in a position of leadership, of guideship, of believing in your own expertise, and that you have that to offer the world, and trusting that and being that leader and that guide to others, the one who's teaching in a course or launching online programs or helping people heal and shift. Scorpio in your 6th, there's a lot of things coming up around your sense of self-knowledge, of really digging into a deeper sense of yourself and your own personal ability to stand in the world as masterful, as someone who just really, you understand yourself completely. You feel whole, you feel grounding into the reality. And so a lot of, you know, wounds and traumas coming up around that, around schedules and around your life force energy, around your lifestyle, the lifestyle that you want to live. And so there's a lot of wounds and things coming up around that to go in and handle, to allow yourself to feel the emotions and so on. You know, Saturn in your 10th, with standing in the world right now, with your business, with your purpose, you know, it's very malleable, it's very adjustable. And so that's a really nice energy. And I would allow yourself to be in the flow of that and let that happen. Pull you some cards, Gemini. Your past supports your future in a protection message. So too much negative feelings towards the past instead of healing the past, because when you heal it completely, it's really not issue for you anymore. There's not resentments or bitternesses, that it's just simply, you feel good with it, you feel solid there, and allowing for you to be in the phase up to that point, that if you're in the phase of that you aren't completely healed and there are the resentments and the bitternesses and all of that, let that be okay. That's not, and you didn't do anything wrong, you're just in the phase of it. People put so much down out there in the world, like people just put so much down, and like don't let anybody be on the journey of life, and it's all a fucking journey. So it's like, realizing that all of the things that went down your past that may have been really, really challenging or hard is how you are going to create the future that you desire. You are the muse. And so realizing all the inspiration comes through you, from you, you channel it, that you are your own best source of inspiration, and allowing for the new moon balsamic phase of your own creativity to be okay when it happens. Get back to the elemental, time to ground, get back to the basics, good food, great night's sleep, taking care of the body well, providing the things that you want and need, really feeling resourced as a woman, meaning you have stimulation, connection, stillness, you have pleasure, joy, passion. All of those things are things we need as a woman to be fully resourced. Cut the cords of doubt. This is coming up very heavily, but particularly around your 9th house and 6th house. And so not letting the doubt sit there, recognize it, identify it, and then move to release it. And so that's a really key way to handle self-doubt. Don't just sit in it. Recognize it when it's there, identify it. Okay, I'm feeling this self-doubt. This is what it is. This is what it's connected to. And then get busy releasing it. If you want help with that, you can come into Light Goddess, or one-on-one coaching, or book a reading. And wishing you so much good things coming, Gemini. You can book a reading, a pick your price reading at thegoddessastrologer.com. $18 buttons to press. All right, Cancer. Cancer, this new moon is happening for you in your 11th house of groups and organizations and people and your audience. And it's your house of the greater world, humanitarian efforts, and for bringing your gifts to the world, like bringing your gifts to others, and connection with groups, organizations, the community, and your business. Perhaps your Jupiter here is amplifying this area, bringing abundance, learning, growth here, and expansion here. This Venus in Cancer in your first is really wanting you to nurture your sense of yourself, your own voice, your own thoughts, opinions, ideas about life, the I am within you. This Venus is asking you to go within and to nurture that part, to basically nurture yourself, your ego structure, the vehicle for your soul in this life, your ego structure and your body, and who you see yourself as, your personality and your character, and to see how you can nurture and bloom and blossom that by loving that, like externalize the love for yourself, so that it's like you would cook a great meal for somebody else and put so much love into it. Do that for yourself. There's so much here about taking care of yourself in nurturing, loving ways, and particularly with the way that you speak to yourself, Cancer. And Mars here in your first house as well. You've been going through a lot of identity shifts with Mars here, allowing yourself to move through old wounds and sift through all the old parts of yourself that aren't meant to come into the future. This Grand Cross puts Pluto in your 8th, around sexual things, around relationships, deep, intimate bonds and relationships, around money and resources, and your psychic gifts, your connection to the all that is, your willingness to change and grow. And so it's a reclamation of power in these areas. Are you standing within a strong sense of self, in your own power? And in these areas of life and what's being provoked here for change. Pluto is that change and that death and rebirth, that regeneration. So there's something here, whether it's your connection to sexuality and reclaiming that from abuse or from the patriarchal world that we've grown up in as women, or reclaiming your power, 8th house, or if it's reclaiming your own sense of authority and with your finances and with business and so forth, with sales, or with your psychic gifts and your connection to all that is. And there's wounds and things that are coming up in your 5th house of where you stand on stage in life and business as a woman in the world, like wherever you are noticed and can be seen and have a chance to share your gifts with the world and to say, you know, this is what I make in the world, this is what matters, and I matter. There are wounds here that are asking to be healed and cleaned up and thought about, identified, worked with, and there's action to take here because it's squares. And so Mars, again, nurture yourself to do this healing. There's a square to the South Node and Apollon. That's how you will be able to do this healing and to work with these things, is by nurturing yourself through it, feeling the emotions, going into all of that. And the North Node is really asking you to bring your gifts to the world and stop holding back and stop trying to be safe. Look at the places where you think you're safe and revise and edit them, Cancer. So wherever you think that the things that keep you safe, whether it's money or relationships or people or clothes, possessions, if it's ideas or beliefs, whatever is like, if I don't have that, I don't feel safe. Or, ooh, like I feel safe when I do this, when I feel this way, when I look this way, when I have these things, or when these people are around, this is when I feel safe. When you identify those and look through that and see if you can start shifting anything that's really not going to serve your ultimate growth in your future. You are epic in a protection message. So it's saying that you're really not seeing your highest potential. You're really not seeing your own genius. You're not seeing how amazing you are. And so this needs to be fixed, improved upon, resolved. Like, you need to think you're epic if anyone else is going to. And again, it's like, doesn't ever matter if people do or not, if you are fully grounded in the value of your own self. And that's Taurus New Moon is about the value within your own self. And so in the 11th house for you, it's the value within your own self in the world at large. And when you're standing within humanity, when you're standing within groups and within peer groups and within friendships and within collaborations, or within, you know, when you're going out, when you're around people anywhere, it's like, are you standing in your self-value of yourself? And do you see how epic you are? And are you like trying to prove it? Or are you just standing in the truth of it? That's what that, you know, Mars and Venus in the 1st house is saying, to nurture, just standing in the truth of it, not needing to prove it to someone. Limitations inspire innovations. Which word really stood out most? Inspire, innovate, or limit? You know, it's like limitations. How are you looking at them? So can you kind of reclaim your view that they're bad or are holding you back or all of that, and just try to reorientate your view, re-narrate your view of limitations, blocks, challenges as giving you this opportunity to be inspired to do something completely different, to go down the paths that you know you're called down, that you're like scared to go down, and you know you're called and you know you need to go. And that's what these blocks are about, is to redirect and to walk those paths. You don't want those blocks to turn into Mack trucks. So really heed the whispers. You are living poetry. It's in a self-care message saying, again, this comes back to the nurturing, like nurturing your creative spark, nurturing your ideas, believing in your ideas, understanding that you're art in motion and that you're an evolving thing, an evolving piece of art yourself. Your life is. And when you frame it like that and look through those lenses, now, like, what are you inspired to do? Now, how can you look through life? How can you take action through that idea that I'm this work of art? My life is this work of art. Collaborations of souls, again, in a self-care message, saying that there's some fear, some reluctance, some wanting to hide and feel safe. And it's really wanting you to, you know, this new moon is in your 11th house. This is a rebirth of how you stand inside yourself within groups. and you're getting rid of the fear and understanding why the fear is there. With fear, we have to either unpack it or we have to do the thing. So if like you're scared to go to the bank for some reason, some money thing, and then like if you unpacked it, it was like all this trail of disaster that happened in your life or like challenging circumstances. Like you're afraid to go to the bank and you keep pushing it off. Something seemingly small, but we do these things in our lives all the time. We push this off and we don't do that. And we keep waiting on this, and that's what holds us back in life in a big macro way, all these 1,000 micro things. And so it's saying like, you know, in the 11th house, like how can you just do the thing? So if you're afraid to go to the bank, go to the bank right now, immediately, and just show yourself, oh, there's nothing to be afraid here. Handle the issue, deal with the paperwork immediately, make the phone call, write the email, talk to the person, go make the sale, do the new way that you want to come across to people, try the video, try the different social media thing, put yourself out there, do the sales, start your business, step into the next level of your visibility or money making. That's what it's saying here, Cancer. It's really wanting you to do the fears and release them so you can be out in the humanity and do the humanitarian things that are changing the world. So you got this, Cancer. If you'd like to book a pick your price reading, you can do that on thegoddessastrologer.com. Hope this supports you. Leo. So Leo, this new moon is in your 10th. It is all about business and your being in the public eye and the public stance on you, reputation, legacy. And so this is a really Taurus rebirth of being in your intuition, like coming from your intuition and with your business, coming from, you know, this sensory self, this tactile self, this instinctual self in your business, getting out of the head, getting into your sensory self, like trusting your instinctual nature to guide you moment to moment in your business and in your presence. And that might mean doing things that somebody says is, you know, that's not the right thing to do in business, or that other people don't think is best, or if, you know, that you might have people speaking against your actions, or you might have pushback in other areas. But in this 10th house, you're meant to really have a rebirth here. So this is an absolute positive rebirth. You may have felt like you just don't have any guideposts in your business at all for a little while. It may have felt very challenging or despairing even, but allow that rebirth to come. And this is a reclamation of singing over the bones with Sedna and Taurus here, and claiming all the beautiful parts of yourself, of living this Taurus archetype in a conscious way, of valuing yourself in the public eye, knowing your value, standing in your worth with your business and your sacred calling. Understand the higher octave of it. This is self-mastery. And so it's standing in a sense of self-mastery around survival into thriving, around your value, around self-love, around knowing what you bring to the world, your magic that you bring to the world, your feminine genius. And so this Uranus here is wanting you to individuate from the status quo ideas about reputation and legacy and wealth and business. This Jupiter in your 10th for a year is really going to expand, give you chances to learn and grow and expand and evolve your way of believing and thinking, and your general life philosophies around your legacy and around self-mastery. It's going to really help you to become super masterful in your life through intuition, being guided and led by intuition. If you allow that, if you work with that and do that work, like we have to do it, right? So this is the provocation that you're getting. And Venus and Cancer and the 12th ruling this new moon is, you know, wanting you to nurture all of the wounded places within you, to do that inner work. Like, go do the past life work, go do the trauma work, go do the wounds work. It will never get better if you don't do it. It will never heal if you don't work with it. It won't just disappear. You can keep suppressing it and pushing it underneath the rug, but that just makes it grow in intensity and in gravity. And it draws experiences to you to force you to learn and grow and heal it. And so shit just doesn't go well, when we don't actually work with it. It's asking you to nurture yourself through the healing that's needed. Connect to the higher realms and the dimensions and your psychic gifts and energy, like nurture your psychic abilities. And this is a completion here. There's a completion in your inner world. There's something that's coming to a close. This square from Mars and Cancer in the 12th to the South Node in the 4th, you know, it's a lot of wounds around family, and there's healing to be done around family and loss and what hasn't gone the way you wanted. Also within your self identity, which is so much based upon our family, how we grow up, and our emotional seascape. And so there's very much things coming up to be healed. And this is square. We must take action on it. And you just nurture yourself through it, mother yourself through that, be with yourself. Pluto in your 7th. In June, will go back into your 6th. And the 7th, it's just a reclamation of power in relationships. It's being in a more humanitarian stance within relationships as well. But it's power, and it's also the regeneration and transformation of relationships. Where are you needing to transform your ideas of relationships, and therefore the relationship themselves? Like, where are you needing to step into to step into allowing relationships to be their own entity that evolves and unfolds and grows, and to allow for there to be a positive thing there, where you're standing in your power, but you're allowing for relationships to come into your life and to transform and change, and not being in a fixed way about it. Like, let the flow come in. Whenever there's not flow there, it's really asking you to get back into your intuition, and indicative that you're not. So really help you if you can do that. All right, Leo. Inflow with money. And so there's this deep breath of really claiming it, expecting it, believing in your sales, like knowing that you're the one in the creator seat. You're the one that is driving the bus of your business, like not being in this bullshit narrative that like you're hoping and wishing for clients. Like, get out of that mindset. If you're with money, hoping and wishing, and like, well, I just didn't get very many clients and stuff, you have to realize you're running a business. You create lead flow. You control lead flow. And if you don't know how, learn. And that's what it is. I mean, it's not hard. You know, there can be energetic stuff, and you have 12th house, Venus, Mars there. And so maybe there's energetic shit that needs healed that's related to money. But, you know, where are you at with your mindset around money? Are you like hoping and wishing, or are you creating and making happen and learning and knowing? Overthinking can spoil the magic. And so get out of your head and into your intuition. Taurus New Moon, all this Taurus energy, all this earth water energy. It's the feminine, the feminine, the feminine. It is saying to us, go into the emotional, feeling, intuitive, instinctual nature, the soulful self, the sensual self. Change maker, make waves. So it's really like telling you to step into that magical woman that is this massive impact in the world, that has this big impact in the world, that has this big light to bring, that speaks on stages, makes good money, that helps people heal and awaken and align and radiate their light. You got balance and a protection message. So it's saying that there's areas of life that you're not feeling super solid, and you're not necessarily attending to them. So just attend to the areas where you don't feel like you're in solid ground. Balance is about, you know, constantly being willing to change as needed to address what's needed in the moment. And so it's a constant course correction. It's not a static thing. It's a thing that's always fluid and moving. And so I just want to, what is this balance about? Fall in love with your own story. So maybe there's just this balance. It's in a protection message too. And so maybe there's just this balance of doing for others and then doing for yourself, and trying to see your story through other people instead of really seeing your story through your own lens, through the lens that you're valuable first. So really coming back to that. I don't know what's going on here. Magic happens when you most expect it. So it's just coming around to the mind, and it's how you're narrating things, and it's how you're talking to yourself about it all, and how you're orientated inside yourself. If you're orientated from, you first, or if you're going through other people. All right, Leo, if you'd like to book a pick your price reading, you can do that at thegoddessastrologer.com. All right, Virgo. New moon for you in the 9th. Jupiter's in your 9th now. This ruler of this new moon, Venus in Cancer in the 11th, in the house of groups, your audience, the greater world at large, humanity, friendships, all of that. So this new moon for you is really about like your friendships, your audience, humanity, collaborations, your community, if you have one, all of that. And so there is a culmination and an ending here, and a rebirth happening here. And it's all around Taurus type themes about your self-value, your stance within yourself, your stance within yourself. Are you orientated towards your self-value and that you matter, and what you have to bring to the world, your creativity, your value that you offer, what you bring forward, all of your tools and your talents and your skill set, all of the things you curated through your life that all your abilities and your gifts and your knowledge, all of that is yours to bring forward and use in the world. Like, use everything that and every skill and talent you have. Use all of them to do the big, amazing things in the world that you have to do. And let this rebirth happening mean that you might not have guideposts. You can be confused until a few days after this new moon. You might feel like you're just kind of in a wind tunnel and nothing makes sense. All of the boundaries. And for Virgo, like, having no boundaries can not feel good, or you can even maybe get sick of the Virgo energy yourself sometimes. Virgos really deal with that inadequacy and that, that inferiority stuff. And the answer is not to be superior. The answer is to go in when you feel the inferiority, and to go in and to handle it directly. Confront it. What is this? Why is this here? Am I making something mean something that it doesn't? And to work with that. And this is really asking for a rebirth around you standing in your expertise in your life and your business as a woman in the world, etc. And so standing in your expertise, standing as the guru, the guide to humanity, means this nurturing yourself and nurturing your intuition and your sensory self that knows everything you need to know moment to moment, when you're in all of those places, within groups, within humanity, within friendships, within all of your relationships with people that are less personal. So in your audience building and in your community, and like letting it all be led by intuition, letting it all be led by the instincts, by your inner wisdom and knowledge. Jupiter here is giving you the opportunity to expand, learn, and grow over this year coming up, and to grow your intuition and your powerful connection to your instinctual sensory self. And out of that analytical mind, Virgo, it's not that it's bad, but if it's too much, then it's not helpful to you. And your reclamation of power in your 6th house, your schedules, your routines, of your lifestyle, the lifestyle that you want to live, of your energy to live it. And so it's like a reclamation of power here with Aquarius here. And that's like 20-year thing going to happen for you in November of 2024 coming up. It's going to pop back into your 5th house, cleaning up and revealing the last of the, where you didn't have power in your 5th house of standing on stage, claiming that you matter, claiming that you're meant to be here, I matter, that self-confidence, that self-possession, that ability to stand on stage, that ability to know and be confident and self-possessed and know and be complete within yourself. And then this Pluto in the 6th house right now in the square is giving you the chance for self-mastery at the highest levels, which is what Virgo is all about anyways. And so it's and it could be with health stuff as well. And so there's power to retrieve here, and it takes change. It takes the regeneration. It takes the caterpillar becoming the butterfly itself. The actual walls of the caterpillar itself is what becomes the wings. And so it's a literal metamorphosis. And the South Node in your 3rd house of mindset, this is where the wounds and issues are that come up. This is where the blind spots are. This is where you don't want to see it. You don't want to mess with it. And there's power for you when you go in and work with these things and manage your mind. Are these thoughts creating feelings that you enjoy or not? Are they creating something in your life that you want or not? And so you have this powerful opportunity, Mars here in your 11th. Again, it's, being able to stand up as a leader in the world, bringing your gifts. Cards, Virgo. Creator air. So it's in an upright position, which is great. It's all about mindset, and there's so much in your astrology about your mindset and really managing your mind. What are your thoughts creating? Are they creating feelings that drive behavior that you want? Are you able to feel gratitude? And if not, there's resentment there. So can you go in and release the resentment? Can you work with your mind and think thoughts that and work with beliefs that you want to think that you want to end up in your result line? And so feed your artist in a self-care message, meaning more art, more connection to your sensual self that needs to move and flow and be creative, more listening to that creative inner drive and less rigid in the routines and lines and boundaries, fearless expression. So really stepping outside the box, coloring outside the lines, noticing where you're coloring inside the lines first is helpful to know how to then color outside of them, and being fearless in your self-expression. In your business, new projects, visibility, getting your name out there more, being absolutely fearless in that. You welcome the divine masculine in a protection message. So it's like really working with the masculine energies in a positive way, and allowing for the nurturance and the caretaking and the holding you up and the protecting and the loving and of yourself. Creator alchemy, realizing that you are the alchemist, that you are the one that creates it into being with the universe. And so that you have that power. So reclaim any sense of powerlessness that you might be feeling, and realize that it's an emotion you can release or kind of unpack it and see what's in there that needs to be released. All right, Virgo, if you'd like to book a pick your price reading, you can do that at thegoddessastrologer.com. Libra, this new moon for you is in your 8th house. Jupiter's moving into your 8th house from your 7th. And Jupiter here is expanding, giving opportunities to learn and grow and really to bring in more abundance and self-love and to recenter your belief system from within. I mean, we don't need a belief system, but we all have subconscious beliefs, right? So to recenter your belief system from within, coming from your intuition, coming from your sensory, soulful, knowing self, coming from within the self that takes care of you, that loves you, that nurtures you. And so this is a year of growth and expansion and learning, and your 8th house of sexuality, death, of taxes, money, other people's resources, your psychic gifts and blooming. And so this is a big bloom and a big year of expansion and growth and becoming the guru in this area. So it's really powerful for you, Libra. Lots is coming. And this new moon here is this rebirth and culmination within the 8th house. So everything I just said around death and taxes and sex, your sexuality, your connection to your creation ability, your connection to your sacral chakra, and your ability to procreate, create, make things, make art, your life as art, connection to the other dimensions, your guides, life, all of that, the metaphysical connection to everything, and then that creative sacral chakra, creative life force blooming, and that regenerative ability that it does die away and come in that cyclical renewal, and allowing that all to be okay. So what is your relationship to that? And is it a relationship that is one that's allowing you to grow, or is there something there that is holding you back and limiting you and blocking you, and that tells you where your relationship's at with that at the moment? And so there is this culmination coming. This old cycle is dying off and a new cycle is being birthed. Venus and Cancer in your 10th ruling this is talking about your legacy, the old one, your how you stand in the world, how you're seen in the world, and the space that you take up. It is the your business and your work that you do in the world, and it's also self-mastery. And so it's really it's really like nurturing your self-mastery and your knowledge of that. Like, really, do you claim it? Do you own it? Do you recognize it? Is that part of your thinking within you? Is that part of your confident stance within yourself, that I am masterful? And these balsamic phases, these new moon phases, where it can feel rudderless for that period of time and feel like you completely lost the plot, of just keeping your fire burning until the moon returns and the light returns and the pathway is illuminated once again, allowing for that cyclical renewal, meaning that, yep, the winter does come, but then the spring comes again. It always follows. And so trusting in that, trusting in yourself and your own intuition and knowledge. So big shifts for you, and action to take here with healing around 2nd house issues, money. So money, self-worth, your self-value, knowing that you have everything within you to create in the world, either your thriving, your value, your money, your relationship, anything that is part of what you feel sustains you. And this is all about self-sustaining. So all of the wounds around this, you have to take the action on them. Cancer and Mars and Cancer and the 10th, you have to take the action on them to nurture yourself, do the healing, do the inner work, and nurture yourself all along the pathway, and really start integrating the conscious expression of that nurturing Cancer energy of being that inner mother to yourself. And no negative self-talk here. Pluto and the 5th is going to be a 20-year thing for you coming November of 2024. And it's this really standing in this powerful place within yourself, standing in this confidence, this knowledge, this greater, it's the sacred activist, and the one that's on stage, 5th house, the one that is complete unto itself. It is self-possessed, it is confident, it's certain, it is certainty, and it's unwavering. The sun comes up, peaks, goes and sets, and it does it in the same place every day. So it's an unwavering type of energy and force, Pluto here. And so it's going to be revealing the chinks in your armor in this area of your soul's growth and evolution, so that you can heal that, so that you can become skilled at that. And so it's not as a punishment or as this horrible, awful thing, but you will have the trials and tribulations that come with that over this 20 years, but it is so that you actually can become masterful and powerful at standing on stage and being the one that's performing and being out there and being the one that's coming with the heart, self-possessed. And this is also in the area of children. And so if you have children, there might be things in this area where there's mastery to be had. And it's where you can step into your power. And again, this Grand Cross is speaking of action that's needed to be taken to work with your power in this area. And so it's a return of power and your confidence and your ability to stand on stage. Really amazing stuff for you. Yeah, I think that's all I want to say about that. Okay, Libra. All right, let's pull you some cards. All right. What do you really want? X marks the spot. It's in a protection message. So it seems to be there's just a confusion about what the vision actually is. And so it's like scattered all over the place. And the distraction of shiny things. And so it's like, oh, I want to do this. 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 But then the arrow can never shoot at the target because the target keeps changing. And creator water, feeling emotions and becoming emotional and masterful is going to be absolutely necessary. But water also working with that water consciousness, every part of it, flow, intuition, letting your intuition guide you. So when it's saying like, if you're just cloudy, you don't even know what you want, it's because you're bopping all over the place and trying to shoot 100 arrows in all different directions. And what's going to help you is to follow your intuition on the thing to do, but to shoot the arrow at that target and wait till it lands before you switch gears. What else is important for Libra? Success in the transformation. And so if you do this process of letting your intuition focus you on one thing, I wouldn't do more than 3, but with this energy coming up, I wouldn't do more than 1. Like one thing, pick the thing, and then focus to fruition. So until it comes to fruition, you got to stay on that track. And with that, you will have success and transformation. You will transform yourself there. And this isn't no joke. Like this is talking about massive alchemy. This is talking about how there's a complete metamorphosis, how it's the walls of the caterpillar becoming the wings of the beautiful butterfly that then is landing on people's nose and dazzling and delighting children and uplifting all of humanity with its beauty and its the way that it floats on the wind and is metaphorical to uplifting the world and being that big light in the world. Fill your cup up with sacred giggles and a protection message. So saying you really need to laugh, Libra. You really need things that are lighthearted, that can make you laugh, that can connect you into that joy. And it's just so necessary. And to let yourself have that. Like, are you willing to let yourself have that? All right, Libra, if you'd like to book a pick your price reading with me, you can do that at thegoddessastrologer.com. Okay. Scorpio. So this new moon for you in the opposite polarity is in your 7th house and in the house of relationships. So massive transformation here, really sinking into your sensory instinctual self. Like, are you able to be in your sacred feminine? Are you able to be embodied in relationships? Are you in that sacred relationship with yourself? How are you relating to everything, the world, your business, to life, to ideas, to your animals, kids, children, family, etc.? The 7th house is about relating. It's also about completion. So there's some completion that's happening on top of it being a new moon, that there's this culmination cycle culminating and something is ending and completing. And so there's big completion energy for you, which is celebratory in the 7th house. There's a big celebration here. This rebirth is been a long awaited journey. There's been a long awaited journey to get to this place now, and a happiness and a celebration and a joy here, and really about connecting in. Jupiter traveling in your 7th house is again talking about a lot of growth and learning and celebratory energy, that abundance energy, and really in reconnecting to the body, to what is the tactile nature of self, the sensory nature of self, beauty, the simplicity of things, getting to the simplicity of life. And what you need moment to moment to moment. Venus in Cancer ruling this new moon in your 9th house about your expertise. And so this new moon is really related to where you stand as an expert in your business or in your life, where you like your deep metaphysical, philosophical ideas and views and beliefs on life, like where you have ignorance inside yourself, where you've expanded and grown your bigger, wider perspectives, where you're connecting to natural truths instead of the man-made status quo bullshit. And, you know, there is this like nurturing of natural truths, nurturing of your connection, nurturing of yourself as a guru, nurturing your expertise, your ability to stand as the professor in your life. And this Mars in Cancer here in the 9th is requesting you to take action on nurturing the I am of you, as wounds around your identity and your ego all come up, wounds around your self-worth, self-value, how you see yourself, like how you respond to threat, like all of these types of your character, everything about how you look and how your body is, all of that, you know, the whatever wounds or challenges that you face there, it's a request for nurturing you. And there's a reason why it's not a completely fixed cross in this new moon, is because we need that nurturance at a conscious level, 29-degree mark of Cancer, to heal wherever we're wounded, and which is Scorpio 1st house for you. And this Pluto in the 4th is a reclamation of power and how you see yourself, your self-identity outside of the world, separate from the world, separate from what was put upon you or what you thought you had to do or the status quo ways. And a reclamation of power and of connection to your emotional inner self. And, you know, Jupiter and Mars square, it's our belief systems with like taking action on nurturing ourselves, but our belief systems say we can't, we shouldn't, or we have to do this, or we have to do that, or this schedule is this way, or this person says this is the right thing. And it's like, are we doing what we know is right and what is right according to natural law versus what other people say to do? Jupiter in 7th. And are we allowing for a rebirth to happen in our family life, our home life, and our own self-identity, and in our sense of our emotional seascape? So a lot shifting and changing and growing for you, Scorpio. The good kind, so it's in a self-care message, so there's a lot of negative self-talk. I think that, you know, I've been talking a lot about it on my TikTok, so you can go there and listen to a lot of videos that will really help you if you have an abuse or trauma background, if you're currently healing for abuse and trauma, because trauma and abuse make you think you're bad, wrong, the problem, the common denominator, etc., or that you're causing a problem when you identify abuse and name what's happening. And so realize that you're reclaiming the part of yourself that knows that you're doing the right thing, no matter if people admonish you, put you down, alienate you. And I talked about this a lot in the first segment, so I'd really encourage you to listen to the first hour of the reading, because there's really always good, amazing channeled astrology and soul coaching in there that's coming through from my guides and from the universe, from different places in the universe, that's wanting to come through for all of those of you listening. And so it's like realizing that you are the good kind, you are the light bearer, you're the light bringer. And so that there's just a lot of stuff here about healing trauma and healing the abuse and the messaging, the internalization of what abuse does to you, which makes you think you're wrong or bad or a burden or whatever it is. And so don't allow yourself to be fooled by the fucked up view of ourselves and the lack of self-value that abuse and trauma creates within ourselves, that we have to heal to really heal completely. So success and transformation. So, you know, doing that success and transformation is offer to you that you are going to pop out the other side of this. Don't worry, you are going to get to the end of the rainbow. You are going to be okay. You are going to pop to the other side of this challenging page in your life. The edge of evolution feels messy, so just let your hair fall down, let things, your toes be muddy and and the wheels of the car fall off, and let the things fall apart so that they can fall together again, and so that the pieces can come together in a much better way, in a much better package. And don't think that the falling apart is falling apart, but rather messy evolution, that that when stars explode and make other things, there's that explosion. There's the winter before the spring again, but the spring, everything's nice and orderly and the flowers are on the trees again, the tulips are coming up. But at the end of winter, if you live in a snowy climate, it's getting sloshy and sludgy and brown, and it's just like rainy, and you don't know what you're doing, and everything's wet and muddy, and so it's just, let that be the case. Lead your metamorphosis in a protection message saying that you can take control of the changes of your healing journey yourself. Don't let it be happening to you and be waiting on it, but you instead lead it and bring it forward. What else wants to come forward for you, Scorpio? Creator fire. So there's some action to be taken here on the heels of that lead your metamorphosis card and protection, asking for you to take action, be lit up from the inside, be inspired. When you're inspired, take action immediately. Let those inspired, moments drive your behavior. And it's asking you to rise, but it's in a protection message saying that there's some fear here. And what's causing the fear, move beyond intention to belief. So don't just think about it, actually believe it into being, create it, act upon it, because when you really believe it, you're going to act upon it, and you're going to behave as if that's true. That's the difference between intention, like that sounds really good, I'd like to, or belief. So really powerful reading for you, Scorpio. If you'd like to book a pick your price reading with me, you can do that at thegoddessastrologer.com. All right. Sag. Nope. Why does this keep doing this? There we go. All right, there we go. Sag, new moon for you in your 6th house, and Jupiter newly in your 6th. All about lifestyle, life force energy, routine schedules, healing, health, being a mentor, getting a mentor, being an aunt or uncle, having nieces and nephews, etc. The 6th house, all about self-mastery, all about self-knowledge. The knowledge of the self, going through 1st through 6th houses, like you have full, complete knowledge of self, and now you're rising to that 10th of self-mastery, go out into humanitarians of the world, and then go to the highest echelons of evolution, enlightenment, and then back to source. So realizing that this new moon is this absolute rebirth in your 6th house related to all of those things. So what is that for you? What is that self-knowledge that you're having this culmination and rebirth on? Maybe you've done a massive body of healing, and then that Venus in Cancer that rules this new moon in your 8th, is it about your sexuality, sensuality, your creative self, your psychic gifts, your ability to connect to the other worlds and metaphysical realms, death, sex, taxes, other people's resources, money, investing, and all of that. And so really look at those areas for where you're having a completion and a rebirth here. And this Jupiter is going to allow you to expand, learn, and grow, and have great abundance in the 6th house areas of life over the next year. So there's definitely some learning and growth there. wounds coming up in your 12th, so past life stuff really coming up, stuff from the psychic realms and the dimensions deep in your psyche. And to heal those wounds, we need to feel the emotions, identify, what you're feeling, what's there, and use this Mars to nurture yourself through it, and to nurture through movement, emotions, feel the emotions, allow them to come up. This Pluto is offering you massive power and illumination in your third house of your mindset. And it's going to be 20 years starting in November of 2024. And so, it's just going to be basically this chance, this opportunity to gain mastery with mind. So managing your mind is going to be key. It's going to illuminate all of the issues and shadows and blind spots in your mindset and your thinking and your communication and your making of intellectual property and so forth, but also great power to be had here, and great rebirth and regeneration. And so realizing the square to all the wounds of like taking your power in this area means healing the wounds. Healing the wounds means nurturing yourself, nurturing your inner psychic world, and nurturing yourself through change and transformation, which means really expanding your connection to your intuition and your inner sensory instinctual nature. Really powerful shifts for you and changes in this new moon. Reclamation of really implementing your self-value, like valuing yourself, which then can create your lifestyle, valuing yourself, which then can help you put together your schedule, valuing yourself coming from your intuition, which then helps you to say what is right for you in healing your body or dealing with your physicality. All of these things are so important here. And for you, the muse, so realizing the inspiration comes from within and stop looking from outside, but we do need that that call and response of listening to things that inspire you, reading books, looking at uplifting material, all of that does help inspire you and lift you up. And so magic happens when you most expect it, really expecting the best, allowing the inspiration to flow up from within you, and expecting magic, expecting the good things to come, expecting the clients, expecting positive things to happen, but being in the flow, not so exact on what it exactly has to look like, because that's when the flow can come in. Nourish the sacred feminine, really big in your reading, like the sacred feminine energy, the intuition. And it's for you, this new moon, all the sacred feminine energy is in that sixth house of grounding in the reality. So can you ground the intuition and sensory information into this reality and allowing changes? Don't think changes are bad, like really re-narrating changes to yourself as changes are good. That's a regeneration, it's a rebirth coming. That's something new afoot, something positive. That's change is the only thing that's ever constant. And so if we stagnate, then that's when the bacteria grows. And so really understanding how good change really is, and being that soul on fire, when you allow for the changes and let go of any stagnation, then you can be that soul on fire. And one more card wanted to come out. What does your soul say? So always going back within, always being guided by that, not the head, not the inferiority issue, driving that superiority, but really being driven by soul. All right, Sag, if you'd like to book a pick your price reading with me, you can do that at thegoddessastrologer.com. Capricorn, this new moon for you is in your fifth house, all about this rebirth of standing on stage energy, this rebirth of being in your heart, self-possessed, completely unto yourself, like this self-mastery, this ability to be completely within your own confidence, self-possession, your own certainty and assuredness, and just with an unwavering sense of self. an unwavering creative fire. And, it's really about the self-actualization, creative self-actualization. So this new moon for you is like culminating an old creative self-actualization that maybe came from stuck places, where it's time to individuate from the status quo, time to individuate from old lines you used to color in between, and rules you lived by, and ways people said to do things, and what you thought was the right thing, and letting go of all of that with Uranus here. And now moving into being completely guided by the feminine, the instinctual, sacred, sensual self that knows all. And this Venus in Cancer here in the 7th, being guided intuitively in relationships, nurturing how you relate to everything. So nurturing yourself, how you feel, what you think, and what's right for you, nurturing that to then have whatever will unfold in your relationships of all kinds, even your relationship to life, the world, your work, etc., to come. This is also, a celebratory place. This is a place of celebration and a place of completion. And so really understanding that this Venus here is wanting to nurture anything that's ready to come to a close. Like there's much that is closing out old cycles of ways of being, old dispositions within yourself, stances, ideas, narratives, and moving to something completely new. And there's some celebration here. This Mars in Cancer wants you to nurture yourself in all kinds of scenarios, especially with people and groups, and when you bring your gifts to the world, and how that makes you feel inside, and the call and response feeling that you get when you're standing out there, when you're putting your work out in the world, when you're standing in humanitarian as that sacred activist in the world. There's wounds around that, the South Node in Scorpio. And so the wounds around that, what's coming up, what is the problem, why are you not doing it, why are you not standing in a bigger confident stance within yourself, what's coming up there. And Mars is wanting you to nurture yourself within all relationships, to be able to heal those wounds, take action on them, look at them, look through them. And this Pluto in the 3rd house is meaning that you have to reclaim your power with your own mind. You don't let your mind drive the bus, but you control your mind. And also this power in creating amazing intellectual property, creating creative works of art, writing, communications to the world in all these different forms or fashions that can allow you to be that sacred activist in the world, and be this powerful force of good in the world. There is Jupiter moving into your 5th, and so it's going to be a year of all these opportunities to learn and grow and expand in your sense of being able to stand on stage powerfully, to stand in confidence, to stand in unwavering belief of yourself, self-assuredness, certitude within, complete self-possession, that as the actor, the performer, the entertainer, the one that's making the jokes, that is completely comfortable there. Sacred mirror is coming up, so there is much showing you right now where you need to change and grow, where the lines are that you've been coloring between. One step ahead is all you need. So all of this future fear and worry is causing you to be immobilized and not take action. And so this card is reminding you that one step ahead is all you need. But if you're thinking about the long view and the long vision, it can really make you feel afraid to take action and feel stuck and stagnant and completely immobilized. And so gratitude, again, if you can't feel gratitude, there's probably resentment in there. And being real, you might resent source, you might resent yourself, you might resent decisions you made or experiences in life, you might resent things that aren't what you'd obviously think of. Typically we think of people when we think resentment, but you can resent situations you've been through, the way your life has went, you can resent money, you can resent your car, all kinds of things. So, and then see if you can bring the gratitude back in and really turn on the love. Cut the cords of doubt. It's in a protection message saying that you're really letting the doubt run you over. You're not catching it in the moment it happens and then releasing it right there or contending with it right in that moment. So catch the doubt in the moment it happens and contend with it in that moment. Don't let it run rampant in your life. It's not going to be helpful at all in any way, Cap. Creator fire, take action, where's that enthusiasm? Where's that creative self-actualization? Where's that creativity and that enthusiasm and that passion and that fire and verve? And that is like, what do you need to do to create that? Move beyond intention to belief. So you can be thinking about it all day long, but unless you believe it, which is what's going to drive your actions, then you can't get there. And this is in a self-care message saying that there's a lot of like thinking about the dream, a lot of good ideas, but no real belief that you can do it. And then you got all this rebirth in this fifth house of this rebirth that you can stand on stage in your life, in your business, in the world, as a humanitarian, as a sacred activist, all of it. So what else, Cap? What's your honest truth? So don't delude yourself. What do you honestly think and feel? And can you let that be okay? Can you sit with that for a moment instead of making it mean something or moving off of that too fast? There's something here that wants to come through for you, Cap. Let yourself be guided by spirit. Let yourself be guided from that place. Your soul shines. So your soul shines. Your light is magnanimous. You have that inspiration and beauty within you. And if you can allow yourself to be the place for that to be on fire and lit up and shining. So if you can be this lighthouse that's holding the light, that's healthy and nourished and well fed and well cared for and well loved, bravely market your magic, putting yourself out there. So that intention to believe, it can be great intention, but are you actually doing it? All right, Capricorn, sending you lots of love. If you'd like to book a pick your price reading with me, you can do that at thegoddessastrologer.com. Aquarius, this new moon for you is in your fourth house, a rebirth here, culmination in the fourth house, a completion cycle in family, your emotional seascape, your self-identity, your image of yourself, how you see yourself, your self-image, the way you think about yourself in the world. There is something coming to a completion and something else being reborn and rebirthed. And it's something that's going to be coming from beauty and being, fully resourced and valuing yourself. So are you coming from a place within yourself that you value yourself? Have you been working on these themes, these Taurus themes of simplicity, on taking care of yourself, listening to your intuition, your inner guidance, your instinctual nature, and valuing yourself, loving yourself, which means nurturance, that Venus in Cancer. And the sixth of nurturing yourself, self-knowledge, sixth house of really knowing yourself deeply, schedules, routines, lifestyle, is all of that serving you? Is it loving you? Is it nurturing of you? Or is it like these expectations that aren't helpful, aren't loving, and so forth? There's wounds around business, how you're seen in the world, your self-image, your legacy, your mission. And there's a lot of a lot of wounds coming up around that. And Mars is asking you to take action of being nurturing around your schedules and all of your routines and around your health to allow you to heal these wounds and take action on really looking at these things, identifying them, unpacking them. What's it all about? What's it relating to? What are you making things mean, etc. Pluto in the first is a reclamation of power and your I am, yourself, your who you are-ness, your character, your ego, how you look, your body, all of that. There is this deep regeneration and rebirth and revealing all of the areas that aren't strong, the weak links in the chain, the things that are limiting you and blocking you, so that there can be the rebirth and renewal here. And Pluto in the first square Jupiter. This square to Jupiter is your belief systems. And if they're coming from a place that allows you to be yourself, to be your authentic, true self, your powerful self, and the self that is always changing and growing and evolving too, or your beliefs stuck and rigid and need to be shifted and altered, need to be able to evolve as you do, rather than being stuck and stagnant. Lots of questions here of reclaiming yourself in that fourth house, and your sense of yourself coming from the sacred feminine, like loving place, coming from this nurturance place, this woman within that's been mothered and loved, the mother within you taking care of you. You got the card gratitude again. Let's see what wants to come through. Limitations inspire innovations. Nourish your sacred feminine. And so it's really getting back to being still, getting out of the mind, getting into the body, getting into your emotional self. So there's a rebirth here with your emotional seascape and your ability to connect to emotions and understand them, be masterful with them, work with them, use them, alchemize them, and really, thinking about all the things you love in your life, all the things that are good in your life, all the things that are working, focusing there, bringing that up. There's a request to focus on there, and to see like how your brain's always trying to focus on the limitations, the problems, the blocks, and realizing if you can look at it from a completely different way, like see if you can just play around with it and let yourself just be really playful and reorientate your narrative about blocks and limitations as this thing that's forcing you to grow. Realize fixed signs, are fixed. They want to stay, things to stay the same, but growth is means change, and it means regeneration. And so nourishing your feminine energies, which is the flow, your intuition, your connection to your body, being grounded in the body, what you need, if you need a shower, or you need food, or you need a good meal, you need a walk, or the sunshine, or plants, or love, or connection, or stillness, or novelty, stimulation, pleasure, nourishing yourself. And are you doing those things? And this sacred mirror and a self-protection message, meaning that you might be interpreting the mirroring of your blind spots as something negative, or you might be unwilling to see what you need to see. And there's, a big message here about something of like getting back connected into you. There's something here about like you really needing to connect back in to yourself, to let all the noise go and let your own chatter in your brain go, to connect into something, a stillness, where's this card at? What card is it? There we go. And allow yourself to see what you need to see, so that you can change involve, because that's the only way to do it. Just one step ahead is all you need to look. Like, let go. That Aquarius can be very future fearing. Let go of the future and just focus in the now moment, just on the next step that you need to take. Don't like project fear into your future. Like, just catch yourself if you're doing that, and don't project fear into your future. Project the belief that things are going to be amazing, and focus on this one step right now. All right, Aquarius, you'd like to book a pick your price reading with me? You can do that at thegoddessastrologer.com. All right, Pisces. All right, Pisces. New moon for you is in this third house of mindset. A lot of mindset stuff for last year plus. It's been a really big deal. This is where you've had massive shifts and changes, and massive transformation in the way you think about life, what you make things mean, how you narrate and look at the things that occur to you in life, and your challenges, life in general, and so forth. That the Pisces, there can be that ultimacy and that existentialism and the meaninglessness, and this thinking that there's this one highest thing that's going to be the ultimate thing, whether that's a relationship or money or a look or material possessions or a status, etc. And so there's a real rebirth coming in the area of your third house. There's a real rebirth coming and how you think about everything. And there's a culmination, there's a closing out of the old ways you thought about things that weren't honoring your feminine energies, that weren't honoring your intuition and your inner knowledge and your instinctual nature, that weren't run off of that, and that where you weren't living from your instinctual nature. There's a culmination and completion coming in this rebirth of living from that instinctual, sensual, wild woman self, that sensual woman that knows what she needs to know moment to moment, which takes this healing of this wounds in the ninth house of confidently standing in philosophical higher truth ideas, this connection to higher truth, the connection to natural law and natural truth, this expansion of knowledge and learning and growth, and any wounds around all of that, and what wounds are up for you there, because those wounds are what you really need to those wounds are going to be up for you no matter what, and those are the ones with when you work with them and through them and let that journey unfold and take you and explore it. That's where, and with Mars, square Mars and Cancer, and nurturing yourself all along the way, that's where you're going to have massive changes in how you see everything. And then this Jupiter spending a year or so, give or take, in your third, will allow you to replant the garden of your subconscious belief systems with beliefs that about your value, about your instinctual, intuitive nature, about your genius and your love for life, and that life is meaningful and magical, and that you have the amazing beauty in life that you want, that you're powerful, that you're capable, all of the things that you want to believe about life, all of the things that you want to experience. That's what you need to plant in your subconscious garden. And it takes the action to do it, which takes this healing. And Pluto is this reclamation of power in your 12th, power over your psychic gifts and abilities, power over your own psychic field and your own psychic astral field and consciousness and understanding your knowledge. This is reclamation of power with past lives and healing there, liberation, change, understanding. All of that is possible here. If you move in that direction, if you move forward, you got to move towards it. Sedna here, reclamation of your intuition, sensuality, beauty, and making beautiful things, like singing over the bones of your life and your past and what has been and what's been destroyed and challenged, and to recreate something, to reclaim the magic that is within you. There's a massive reclamation of power here, particularly in self-knowledge, that always leads to self-mastery. Self-knowledge always leads to self-mastery, and self-knowledge always leads to discernment and the ability to nurture yourself, the ability to take great care of yourself, Pisces, which is so important here. And so knowing too that Aries in your second is a reclamation of courage. Stand in your courage when it comes to money and your ideas about money and abundance and self-value. Pull you some cards, Pisces. Fearless expression. So what does it take to have fearless expression? Because it might be on the energetic plane. And so then what does it take to do that? Make a mission statement for your soul. It's in a self-care message. So it's like this connection, like coming from soul. Are you orientated towards soul within yourself? Are you coming from that in all ways? Or is there outside voices trying to dictate what you do and where you go and how you move in this world? Balance came up. So there's this need for constant course correction and movement to not stay static and stale. There's a staleness that's going on as a self-care message. So it's saying that you need to take care of the areas where you feel stagnant and stuck and stale, and things aren't really, you're not able to feel solid. You're not able to feel balanced. Like what do you need to shift and change there? There's something that needs to be shifted and altered. You are epic in a self-care message. You're not really believing that. You're not really buying into that. You're not really thinking that about yourself. You're not in the highest places of confidence and self-belief and unwavering belief right now. And this message is really like, get back to the elemental, the trees, the roots of your own being, your sacral chakra, baths, good food, health, exercise, all of the basics. Like, get back to the basic things that nurture your own inner garden. There's something here about just not feeling like you're at the highest levels of feeling like you can be confident and be in your self-security and certainty. You are living poetry, but it's in a self-care message of really wanting to understand that you are art, like allowing the flow, letting the flow be okay. Can you not beat yourself up about it? Can you not beat yourself up about the ups and downs and the cyclical renewal of all things, including your creativity, raw intention, letting all of the perfectionism go, and again, getting back to the elemental, like this raw, what is the essence of the thing? Like, you can try to do all of the big things and the make it so perfect and beautiful and everything line up just so, but like, what is just the essence of it? And can you just get to that raw intention of what you're trying to do and let that guide and lead you? Because everything else is just a fucking distraction, and it will drive you insane and it will immobilize you. So getting to just the essence of the thing, and then what's the next action you take to put that into motion? And I think that'll just really spark and help you so much, Pisces. Follow through is your next card after that. So I hope that helps. I think that's an amazing, beautiful reading. Sending you so much love. If you'd like to book a pick your price reading, you can do that at thegoddessastrologer.com. And if you've all continued watching, sending you lots of love, and catch me over on TikTok at the Goddess Astrologer. Pick your price readings on the goddessastrologer.com, and more goodness coming here to YouTube. And remember that the chapters, I'll be adding them in within 24 hours. It'll probably get done tonight, but just in case. And sending you so much love. I love doing these videos, and what wants to come through comes through. And sometimes it's not what I expected or had planned, and then other times it's exactly what what was channeling through before, and I thought wanted to come. So it's really a beautiful journey to experience as I'm doing it as well. And I'm really happy to be on the Light Goddess TV here, and there's so much goodness. So you can catch me on TikTok. You can message me privately on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. TikTok's okay. Their messaging is weird. I don't know. I don't think you can always message people. So LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook are places if you need to get in touch. And there's also realized that there's the Light Goddess podcast. So the Light Goddess podcast has almost 500 episodes. There's so much goodness on there. I talk about the spiritual journey. I talk about running business when you have trauma or are healing from trauma or abuse. I've talked about running a business on feminine flow and intuition, and about women's rising and the divine feminine awakening journey, and so much more, healing and awakening and all of the spiritual paths. So I hope that you go over there and check out the Light Goddess podcast. Sending you all so much love. I'll talk to you next video.